So, thanks for coming along. My name's Jay. I'm one of the IELTS specialists at e2language.com. I've actually taken this test myself and I did get a 9 in IELTS reading. I'm also an English language teacher, of course. I'm going to show you how you can maximize your scores. One of the things you need to know about is this. We're going to look at an IELTS reading fundamental skill called detail. This is the second part. If you haven't seen the first part, do go and check it out. It'll be up in our channel somewhere. Right, let's get started. There are 3 fundamental skills that you need to succeed on IELTS reading. They are detail, main idea, and logic. We're going to look at detail in this one. And there are certain questions that come with detail. Those questions are, let me get out my pen, multiple choice. You need to be able to identify details, match sentence endings, information, features, sentence completion, summary, note, table completion, diagram labeling, and short answer. All of these require you to be able to look into that passage and pick out particular words. There are some secrets to be able to do this. Let's have a close look. So in this one, we're going to do a live mock test, and we're going to look at multiple choice, we're going to look at sentence completion and summary table completion. Let's first think about strategy. Strategy. You certainly need a strategy in the IELTS reading. What I noticed when I did IELTS reading is that there is very little time and you've got an awful lot of text to read and the questions are confusing and you're surrounded by all these people and you feel really nervous. You need to go in well prepared. So let's have a look at this strategy. Strategy is this. This is how the IELTS reading for detail questions work. So you'll have a question, right? And you'll find a key word in the question. You'll find a key word in the question. Then you'll need to be able to find the corresponding keyword in the passage, which is usually a synonym. What do I mean by that? So, you're looking at your test paper, right? And on the left-hand side, you have, or the right-hand side maybe, you have the question. Might be on the left. Let's put it on the left. You have the question. It's a multiple choice question, say. And in the question prompt, it says some sort of keyword. Okay, fine. So you identify that keyword. Then you look in the passage and you need to quickly find the corresponding keyword in the passage so then you can actually answer the question. That's a real skill. So let's have a look and get some practice at this. This is what I mean. This is what it looks like. So you get keyword, hold on. You get keyword here. So you've found a keyword in the question. Great. And then you look and you think, oh, good, there's the synonym or the same keyword here in the passage. The answer will be around here somewhere. But it's not that easy. You see, what happens is sometimes the same keyword in the question and passage. Whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Sometimes you'll have the same keyword in the question and passage, like run and run. That's easy. Fine. So you see the word run, you look in the passage, you see the word run. You can identify where to find the answer. But sometimes the same keyword in the question and passage, but in a different form. What do I mean by that? Well, in the question it might say run, but in the passage it might say ran, or has run, or is running. What you need to be able to do is identify meaning, not the exact word. You need to read for meaning. In the keyword it says run. In the passage it says has run or is running or will have run. Something like that. That's one possible way. Sometimes the keyword in the question is a synonym in the passage. What do I mean by that? Well, you might see the word run in the question, but in the passage you'll see the word sprint. Okay, right. That makes it a bit harder, doesn't it? Because it's not just a matter of identifying this. If it were that easy, if only it were that easy, we'd just say run and then we'd look and where's run, where's run, where's run, where's run? Oh, it's a synonym. It's not going to be the exact same corresponding keyword. Fine. Or you might look in the passage and say jog. Or marathon, a completely, not even a verb. This time here we have a verb and here we have a noun. But that will be your synonym. This is probably the hardest part about IELTS reading is their use of synonyms. So you might have a vocabulary that's quite big, fine, you can identify run, but can you identify marathon? Can you identify jog and sprint? Is your vocabulary big enough to be able to identify synonyms? That's critical. That's a hard thing to be able to do. Let's do a little activity. Let's call it a race, because you've got to move fast. I want you to find the key words in the passage. Okay, so as we talked about, sometimes you might have to identify a phrase, you have to identify a keyword but in a different form, or you'll have to identify a synonym. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do this one. What are the corresponding keywords? Your time starts now. One minute left. Move fast. Move fast. Put your answers into the chat or the comments below. And don't forget to click like, please. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to give you more time because it's a little bit complex. I'll give you 1 more minute. If you've already finished, you can always skip this. Ten seconds. All right, let's go through these answers. What are we looking at? So, answers, fine. So, in the question, you might see something like a young male mouse. In the passage, you'll see adolescent male mice. So, similar meaning, synonymous phrase, a synonymous phrase. What about low in? Well, you might see that in the question, but in the passage it'll say lacking. So it's just a synonym. Kind of both verbs. Nervousness will be anxiety-like behavior. Nervousness, maybe they're exhibiting nervousness in the question. In the passage, it'll say something about exhibiting anxiety-like behavior. Poor scores, worse performance. Enough, adequate. So enough nutrition or adequate nutrition, just both adjective synonyms there. Formation and role, well, maybe it's talking about the brain, but it's talking about the structure and function of the brain. Become more independent, gain increasing independence. decide for themselves, make their own choices, less expensive, more affordable, choose unhealthy foods, opt for foods that lack key nutrients. If you get this, you'll get IELTS reading. This is what it's all about. It's about how to say one thing in another way using different words. That's how they trick you. It's not really how they trick you. That's how they test to see if you understand these concepts. It's all about having a big vocabulary. It's all about good practice materials. It's all about putting in the hard work. Right. Let's do a live mock test. Why not? Why not? Why not? So what I want you to do is I want you to get out a piece of paper and I want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like this vertically. This will be your scorecard. We're going to do 10 questions. And we're going to look at this passage here. Now, when I did my IELTS reading, I did not read the passage from beginning to end. There isn't enough time. What I did was, I knew that the questions follow the same sequence as the passage. So question 1, the answer is going to be located at the top. Question 2 will be lower, question 3 lower, etc. And it follows through like this. So I didn't just read through the passage, I glanced at it so I could understand what it was about. But what I did then is I went straight to question 1. It was a multiple choice question. Looked for that keyword, looked in the passage for the corresponding keyword, kind of read around the keyword to find the answer, found the answer, moved to the next one. So actually you do read the passage anyway, but as you answer the questions. Cool. So in fact, on test day, I wouldn't read this from beginning to end. What I would do is I'd move straight to the questions, such as multiple choice, and I would do them. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do these multiple choice questions here, 1 to 3. One more minute. Alright, how did you go with multiple choice? They're usually the first set of questions that you'll receive in IELTS reading, and they're probably the simplest to understand the format of. The next set of questions we're going to do is a summary completion. Let me explain this one to you because it does require a little bit of explanation. Fine, so we've got a gap here we have a summary rather. Here's a summary. And what this summary is effectively this turned into using all synonyms. But here we've got 2 and we've got a gap. It should actually say 4, 5, 6. Sorry, that should say 4, 5, and 6. And we've got particular words that we need to pull directly, for example, directly from the text into the gap. Now the instruction says no more than 1 word, so we can only use a single word, but that instruction will change on test day. So I'll give you 3 minutes to complete this summary. Sorry, let me just change this. This is my fault. I'll just change the numbers. This is number 4. This is number 5. And this is number 6. Ten seconds. Give you another 30 seconds just in case. Remember to type your answers into the comments. And don't forget to click like. Alright, that's a bit of a tricky one. I was just looking at that and I thought, wow, especially number 4 there. Let's move on to the next set of questions, which are sentence completion questions. Fine, it's very similar to the one we saw before, but what you'll see as a little bit of a difference is you'll see an unfinished sentence. You need to complete the sentence by filling the gap. Fine. We better read the instruction though. It says no more than 3 words. So you can use 3, 2, or 1 words to fill that gap. Fine. Let's do this one. You have 3 minutes before we look at the answers. How is it going? This is a bit tough. I think I've put some tricky questions into this. That's right. If you're struggling, don't sweat. We're going to look at the answers in a second. I'm going to show you how we arrive at these answers. So let's go through the answers now. Fine, so you should have written your scores down. Oh, sorry, your answers from 1 to 10. Let's look at those answers. So, tame. Let me just get out my pen here. And red, very good, cool. So, what type of cats? This is a real key here. What type? Because here are the different types: tame, wild, caged, or feline. Now we're going to be looking for a synonym, aren't we? And here we can see that it says cats were domesticated, and so that's the synonym that we're looking for. Tame and domesticated mean the same thing. Fine. And it says what type of cats originated in Egypt. Okay, fine. And also it says here the origins of domestic cats. That's probably a better place to read here, actually. Origins of domestic cats herald from ancient Egypt. Cool. So we got number 1, which is A. Number 2, let's have a look at the question. It says, which of these, A, B, C, or D, which led to the increase in the number of cats? Well, this says they, that means the cats. The cats, the domesticated cats, later spread across Europe and other parts of the world via trade. So they spread. So that's the synonym for increase. Okay, so what's the synonym for trade? Is it farming, theft, commerce, or DNA? Well, it has to be commerce. Commerce and trade are synonyms that mean the same thing. This is how we read for detail. Cool. What about the next one? It says, let's look at it before we show the answer, just to create a little bit of suspense. The original cat's fur. So this is a key word here you're looking for. Cat's fur. The cat's fur. Okay, fine. So these ancient cats had stripes. Okay, spotted cats were uncommon until the Middle Ages, so it's not that. So this is the word that we're trying to look for a synonym for. So what about speckled? Stripes? No. Solid? No. Lined? Good. Spotty? No. So the answer, in fact, is lined. Was typically stripes, lined. There you go. So the answers for 1 to 3 are A, C, and C. If you got that, do put a smiley face and click like. What about the summary? The summary completion. All right, let's have a look at it. First one was a real trick. I bet you most of you were looking for a number because, in fact, let's read this sentence. It says something, so we don't know this yet. Something of modern-day domestic cats and their ancestors are almost identical. So what's almost identical between modern-day domestic cats and the ancestors Felis sylvestris? Well, what's almost identical? Well, here's Felis sylvestris here, and here it says, all skeletons look exactly alike. Interesting. So we've got a bit of a synonym happening here if we look closely, because we've got almost identical, and then we've got indistinguishable and look exactly like. So we know we're going to be reading around here. And this is the key word. So the key word isn't a synonym. That's a direct word that we have to put in here, but we need to read around here to find the where. Gets a little bit complex. What am I trying to say? The word skeletons came directly from the passage. How we found that was the key word that we needed to as the answer, were the surrounding words were synonyms from the question or from the summary. That's what I was trying to say. Cool. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, well, let me get out my pen again. It says Felis sylvestris libica. So this is just Felis sylvestris. We're not looking here anymore. We've moved down to this part here. We've found a keyword. Corresponding keyword. It's the exact keyword, so we know where to look. Fine. It says Felis sylvestris libica, which is a North African what? Well, this says Felis sylvestris libica, a subspecies found in North Africa. This says a North African. This is a direct word that we take and we put here as number 2. Number 2, the answer is subspecies. Subspecies. Sweet. Easy. Number three. right? Let's have a look. So, ancient farms probably attracted cats because they had plenty of what? Well, plenty of rodents. How did we arrive at rodents? We're reading here, the first agricultural settlements probably attracted wildcats because they were rife with rodents. Ancient farms probably attracted cats because they had plenty of, there's your synonym for rife with, plenty of, they are the synonyms, but the key word that we want there is rodents, and that is the answer for number 3. Just remember for this one, we're taking words directly from the passage. We're not saying mice or rats, we're taking that word rodents directly from the passage there. Cool. Let's look at the next set of answers. That's what we want. Answers. So, this was sentence completion. The cats accompanied farmers who were what? All right. Let's have a look. So, this is an interesting little keyword, and we're going to find a synonym up here. It says migrating farmers took with them. So take with them, you take the cats with them, that's the same meaning as accompanied, right? So we know we're looking around this area here, and it says the cats accompanied farmers who were, well, what were they doing? Of course, they were migrating. So that's the word that you use to complete the sentence. The cats accompanied farmers who were migrating. Fine. And it's a single word. Not bad. Let's have a look at... Whoopsie, I knew that would happen. Let's go back. Let's look at the next one. The cats proved useful on what? Well... what does it say? It says, used to fight vermin on Egyptian trade ships, the cats travelled to large parts. Okay, so we've got the cats proved useful on. This is a real key, this little word here, because, well, they proved useful on farms, you could say, but that's not what none of this is about farms. This is about proving, I believe this word boats was there. There's the synonym ships. So here are the 2 words that you needed to complete it. Remember, we can use 2 words, that's fine, but we can't use 4. We can use 1, 2, or 3. So we have Egyptian trade boats, fine. If we just wrote trade boats, it would be incorrect because we need more information than that. Let's have a look at number 9. Ancient cats typically had striped coats. Well, we almost saw the answer for that before, didn't we? We saw the answer for that before, striped. They found that the striped cat was more common in ancient times. Common, typical, you can see how these just say the same thing, but in different words. That is what IELTS reading is all about. That's what it's all about. Let's have a look at the last one. Let's look at the question before we look at the answer. Varied fur patterns became more common in... Alright, let's have a look at how we can find this. So, varied fur patterns. Okay, so we got varied fur... Okay, so what have we got? We're talking about striped cats here. Were more common in ancient times. Okay. Varied fur patterns became more common in ancient times. Okay, this is also illustrated, blah, 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 blah. The blotched pattern did not become common until the Middle Ages. So, varied. So, here we've just got one type, the striped. Here we've got a blotched pattern, so this is where it becomes varied. Fine. And when did it become varied? Well, in the Middle Ages. We've got in. We need these 3 words here. 1, 2, and 3. And this is fine because we can use 3 words from the instructions. So, varied fur patterns became more common in the Middle Ages. If you're finding this particularly difficult, I want to show you what you should do. If you're finding this hard, then do check this out. www.e2language.com, and you can do /IELTS. If you need help, check out that website. We've got heaps of reading content available, plus strategies, plus vocabulary building tools, plus grammar lessons, plus everything you need. Check it out. You can also make a free account, which is good. So e2language.com. Fine, let's look at the scores here. Sorry, the answers. The answers are this: 1A, 2C, 3C, 4 skeletons, 5 subspecies, 6 rodents, 7 migrating, 8 Egyptian trade, 9 striped, and 10 the Middle Ages. Now, there's a little bit of complexity here. We haven't finished yet. Right. If you wrote skeletons with a small s, or if you just wrote skeleton, you would be wrong. It needs to be, because it's taken straight from the text there, and it was the first word of the sentence, skeletons, plural. You must get the grammar right in your answers. What's another one? Again, rodents, not rodent. If you wrote rodent, it would be wrong. Okay, rodents. And if you wrote Egyptian with a small e, if you wrote Egypt, wrong. You have to be so careful in IELTS to make sure that you use the correct punctuation, the correct capital letters, and the correct grammar, especially plural nouns, things like this. And here, taken straight from the text, Middle Ages has a capital M and a capital A. So make sure you do that. Cool. I think that's it, actually. What have I got left on this screen here? Nothing. Just E2 language. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you like this, do put a comment in below. Click thumbs up. But do yourself a favor. Go to www.e2language.com. Sign up for free. Get some help. Think about taking some tutorials. Join our live classes. If you're struggling with IELTS, we are the people to help you. Thanks very much. My name is Jay. You can check out my other videos on YouTube as well. Let me, for now, disappear. Am I going to disappear? Yes, let me disappear. How do I disappear? I think I do this.